What up, y'all? Welcome back to I'm Just Saying Sports. I know it has been a minute since I did a long form video, but NBA free agency is here. I'm getting my voice back. I just had to get on here and give a long form video, man. But before I get into the NBA free agency and the off season, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, tell your people to holla at me because I'm out here. All right. So let's start off. Get the elephant in the room. Salute to Bronny. Salute to LeBron James. Bronny got drafted second round, draft pick number 55. I'm a father. Salute to LeBron James. He did what he was supposed to do. I'm in that camp. I have no problem with the nepotism or whatever you want to call it that LeBron showed to get his son in position to achieve his dreams. I have no problem with that. So salute to them. I'm not sure how Bronny's going to look this first season. I'm not sure what the situation is going to be. He's going to be in G League primarily, or he's going to be the last man on the bench, or whatever the case is. But he got to where he wanted to go. LeBron probably more than likely had a hand in it. I don't have a problem with it. Salute to that. All right, moving forward, man. The breaking news of this morning, it came down like 4 or 5 o'clock this morning from Woj and Shams. Paul George is signing with Philly on a 4-year max contract. He's going to team up with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Eric Gordon just agreed to sign over there too, so they're going to have a little roster on them. Philly, your time is now. You got 1 or 2 years before this process has got to be over with. You know, we've been trusting the process. Y'all been telling us to trust the process. We ain't seen no results. Joel Embiid, you ain't made it out the first round or the second round, something like that. Like, you ain't made it far in the playoffs. So I'm gonna need to see some results. And they got to get going, man. Paul George, you know, he's in that class of guys that's on the end of their primes, at the end of their careers. He's just trying to chase one, trying to get one before he leaves. And with the Eastern Conference, being the Eastern Conference, I mean, Bucks, we don't know what's going on with them. Boston, we don't know if they're going to be able to repeat. And there's no real other competitor. I mean, obviously, you got I'm gonna root for the Cavs, but there's still some questions there with the new head coach, Kenny Atkinson, man. So, Philly, this is your time. You got to get it done. Next, big story: Klay gone from the Warriors. I called it. I've been calling it all last season. I knew it was over. Klay, he just looks like a shell of himself. And then he went for 0 for 10 in that closeout game. It's pretty much over with him and the Warriors. They do not expect Klay to come back based on the offer they gave him. I'm not sure if he wants years. I'm not sure if he wants money. I'm not sure if he's trying to chase another ring. I'm not sure if he's trying to stick it to Golden State. I have no idea what Klay thought process is, but it seems like he's emotional off this. So we'll see what happens. Suitors for Klay, I would have said Orlando would have been a great candidate if he wanted to get his money, but the deal that they gave KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, I think that was the money allocated for Klay Thompson. So I don't see that happening. They're over the cap. They're not necessarily in that second apron that people be talking about, but I don't see a Klay happening because KCP and Klay are pretty much the same guy. They would play the same role on that team, so I don't see it. It may happen, but we'll see. James Harden, he re-signed to the LA Clippers, 2-year deal. I don't think it's going to work out for the Clippers. I don't think they know what they're doing. They're trying to make a splash. They signed Kawhi, who was always hurt. I'm not sure why they signed Kawhi over Paul George, because Paul George is more available. But, yeah, James Harden's going back to LA, presumably getting some of the money that Paul George would have got if they would have chose Paul George. Don't see nothing coming from that, though. Chris Paul was waived by the Warriors and signed with the Spurs. Now, the Warriors move that, to me, that never made sense in practice. In theory, it did. It gives you a veteran leader in that locker room that you lost, that you really didn't have, because you can't really depend on Draymond. You need an adult in that locker room. Chris Paul was supposed to be that guy. It just didn't work out. It never seemed like it was going to work. Draymond don't even like Chris Paul, and none of those, like, they just didn't like each other, so it just didn't really make sense in practice. So he got waived. He went to sign with the Spurs on a 1-year, $11 million contract. It'll be just a veteran leadership thing. and helping Wembanyama. I'm sorry, I botched his name, I'm sure, but helping Wemby develop and be that coach on the floor. That Pop it can't be, obviously, because he's a coach. Jamal Murray signed a 4-year max extension with the Denver Nuggets. Now, that's interesting because, yes, you brought an important guy back. However, you keep losing rotational players in the Denver Nuggets. Like last year was Bruce Brown. This year's KCP. You just don't have a lot of depth. And that was the Achilles heel last season in the playoffs. They just didn't have enough guys to come in and get a bucket or get a stop or whatever the case is when they needed it. And that I think it's going to rear its ugly head. I think Denver might fall back to that middle of the pack. Well, a part of the pack in the Western Conference. Now, I'm not saying KCP was that important, but it's just the depth. Now, we'll see what they can get in the offseason, see if they can make a trade, see if they can get somebody in free agency. But, yeah, I don't see Denver being the top dogs in the West anymore. DeJounte Murray traded to the Pelicans. Now, that's an interesting one. It had been rumored that the time was up for the DeJounte Murray, Trae Young experiment. It was pretty much over. It didn't work. So it was one or the other, and it's Trae's team. So obviously DeJounte got to go. It'll be interesting to see the domino effect of that, because you still have a Brandon Ingram over there that doesn't play that position, but he kind of, similar position. I know Brandon Ingram has been on a trade block for a while now. I'm hoping the Cavs can scoop him, send Jared Allen, somebody like that over there for Brandon Ingram. I touched on that in the previous video. I just think Brandon Ingram is a great piece if he can stay healthy. He can get buckets. When he's locked in, he can play a little bit of defense, rebound. He can do it all, but he has to be locked in. He got to be focused. So pairing him up with Donovan Mitchell and having a real shot at some success in the East and getting out of the East, I think that would be a great move for the Cleveland Cavaliers and New Orleans Pelicans. Now, getting back to the Warriors, I think the Warriors need to really have a look at themselves and have some honest conversations within that organization, from the front office to the players, especially guys like Draymond and Steph Curry. You lost Steph. We knew you didn't want Clay back, especially when you were in pursuit of Paul George. We knew Clay wasn't coming back when you were trying to trade for Paul George. Steph Curry, it just depends on what he wants. If he wants to just ride out and just be like, hey man, I want 4, I'm good, I want to stay in Golden State, that's fine. He just won't win. But if he wants to win, he's gonna have to go. And with them trying to get under that tax, that luxury tax, I could see them sending Draymond Green elsewhere, because they signed him for 4 years, $100 million. That was like Bob Myers' last little to do before he stepped down, was to give Draymond Green all that money, which was I get it, but at the same time, you kind of hamstrung that organization for years to come, giving him that money, because he's definitely not worth $100 million, in my opinion. At this stage of his career, he's not. I would seriously consider trading Draymond, maybe for some pieces that can work out. But again, if you trade Draymond, you got to trade Steph. They can't work without each other on that team. It's just not going to work. So I say blow it up if you're the Golden State Warriors and just start from scratch. But hey, man, we'll see what happens, man. Mavs lost Derrick Jones to the Clippers. That's going to be a piece, because the Mavs was already struggling with depth and rotational players and really help for Luka and Kyrie. So that's a big loss. We're going to see what they can do in free agency. Maybe they can get aggressive because they got a little bit of money. They can get aggressive and try to get somebody. I don't know. Hartenstein, he went and signed with the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's big because the Knicks, that's a big loss for the Knicks. I know they got Mikal Bridges over there, so they playing with the Villanova Knicks. But Hartenstein, he was a big man, and you don't have that many of them. Mitch Robertson is staying hurt. Julius Randle, not really that good. His time might be up there. And you got the Villanova Knicks with no size, no power, no nothing. Just a bunch of guys playing wing and on the ball. That's it. So we'll see what happens with the Knicks. I think they need another piece, maybe a big man. I don't know, really a big man or like a superstar scorer. But we'll see what happens with the Knicks. JB Bickerstaff went to the Pistons like I thought he would. I said that was a good match in a previous video I did. And that ended up happening. Monty Williams wasn't a good fit in Detroit because he's not there to develop. He's there to get over the hump. But JB Bickerstaff is a developmental coach, and that's what the Detroit Pistons need. So the Monty Williams hire was a bad hire to begin with, but they corrected their wrong. So that's all you could do, and they caught it, and they fixed it ASAP. I wish JB Bickerstaff the best of luck. He's an excellent coach. He just wasn't the right coach for the Cavs and where they were in their development, in their process. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. How do you feel about the free agency period open? Did your team get a guy? Do you think your team will get a guy? What are your expectations for your squad this year? Let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Again, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell your people to holler at me because I'm out here. Peace.